Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine. It's time to continue our Sketch With Me series using our Vivid Memories collection. And I pulled out some of our Jazzberry and Lime Tart pages today from the collection. I also picked sketch number 10 from our September 2021 Worldwide Virtual Crop. This layout was designed by Michi Amano out of Japan, and I hope I didn't completely butcher her name. But I just thought it was a fun layout, and it will look gorgeous with our Vivid Melodies pages and embellishments. So I've picked actually our largest floral pieces for our base of our pages. We are going to work on these bright, bold, and beautiful pink jazzberry flowers. It's the sheets that have the plaid on the back. I did use the plaid this past weekend in our virtual crop and a layout, and I had so much fun live streaming the virtual crop. I don't know, I may have to do that again sometime. Y'all are gonna have to let me know in the comments if you like that or not. But I also have, let's see here. This sheet we're gonna use both sides of. It's the Dainty Bloom with our speckled look on the back. We are also gonna create some mats out of our Dainty Bloom from the Lime Tart, using our speckled side, I think, but we might use some with the Dainty Bloom as well. And then I've also pulled out something I don't know if y'all are familiar that Creative Memories has. Creative Memories sells lined pages, lined designer pages. It comes in white, Spargo, and natural. And I have a scrap from another project that I wanted to bring in for this journal box here. I just thought it would be fun because they actually show some of the lines here, and I thought, you know what, why not pull out some of the lined paper? I don't think I've shown it in any of my other sketches, so we're going to use it today. We are also going to use our decorative trimmers, so I pulled mine out, and we are going to use our border maker system, and I have the Rolling Sunshine Chain border maker cartridge. In looking at what we currently have for sale, this came out of one of our secret boxes, which are currently for sale right now as well. It is August of 2022. If you're watching this video on the replay, they may not be for sale right now, but if you're watching it as soon as I get this posted in August 2022, we do have our secret box available again, and you never know what you might find in those. I found this Rolling Sunshine Chain in one of mine, and I'm going to use it today. You can use the Dainty Leaf Border Punch as well if you want a quick substitution, or you can also use one of your border stickers. I just thought it might be fun to go ahead and use our Rolling Sunshine Chain because it does have the wavy look to mimic what we're going to cut with our decorative trimmer. So first things first, to use our border maker system, you pull out the gray tray that's housed underneath. You lift up your magnet that holds your paper in place, this blue bar. You go ahead and line up your paper, push down the blue piece, and then fold back under the gray tray. And we are going to punch 2 of these. So here we go. Okay, so I've punched 2 of them, and I realized I forgot to tell you that there's a notch on the housing for the punch, as well as a notch in the blue bar that holds our paper in place. And you line up those 2 notches. That's what lines up these 2 pieces into where you punch, so that way you know you get a nice border when you do your punching. So let's go ahead and set those aside. And now we're gonna go ahead and pull out our 12-inch trimmers. We're gonna do some 3.5 by 5.5 inch mats. I just wanted to try to get in a larger mat onto this page, and since it holds, or should hold 6 pictures, when I was thinking about the math, I think we need to go a little bit smaller than what I usually do. I usually like to do 6.5 by 4.5 mats, but I just don't think it's gonna fit this page. So here we go. If you don't want to pull out the bar to your trimmer, just go to the edge of the blue to get your 5.5 inches. Otherwise, you can pull out your sidebar there. Oops. This is why I usually check this now. Okay, what did I do? There we go. Okay. I can tell it's Monday. Here we go. So by 3.5. All right. Sometimes I just don't put enough pressure on my blade, and these are my first project of the day, so I'm getting myself back into scrapping here. So that's 3.5 by 5.5 mats, and like I said, we may use the floral side, we might use the green side. We'll have to see what looks good when we get to that point. Let's see what size this is. So we probably can get 2 more out of this page. Yep, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm cutting this one at 3.5 inches, and then I'm gonna turn it and do 5.5 twice. Just go in the opposite way. This page, it really doesn't matter which direction you're cutting because the design is not really a directional one. Okay, so that gives us 5 mats. I actually don't really want to cut up another full sheet of paper, so I'm going to pull out some of my scraps from the other night. I have both the plaid and I've got the, ooh, that's pretty. That might actually pop on our, I've got also the shell one, or the scallop looked page that has kind of the ombre look on the back. So let me see what these are. Let me just, well, this I think actually might be a 4 by 6 mat. What do you think? So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that one as it is, and we'll see if we wind up using that. Let's see where this one comes in. This is also 4 inches. Maybe if we take it to 5 or 5.5. No, let's do 5, because it's kind of, if you do 4 by 6, 4.5 by 6.5, it makes sense to have things either on the a similar measurement, I guess, with doing your mats, your photo mats. So I'm going to stick this one to the side as well, and I will see when we go to put the page together what winds up working. It's up to you if you want to go ahead and pull out another sheet and cut an extra mat just for the one so you can fit 6 on the page, or maybe you just have a photo without a mat, or maybe you use a larger embellishment. We'll take a look once we get through our cuts and see where we get. This is where I guess I need to give my speech, where recipes are guides and so are sketches. And so we are just gonna go with it. Oh, you know what? I forgot to cut my, I'm actually gonna wait to cut my lines, to cut my journal box, because I don't know how my space is going to work out here, and so we probably are going to have to grab out our 0 centering rulers and figure out how much space to cut our little journal box with our lined paper. So with this decorative trimmer, Michi from Japan did several 1-inch cuts along the 1-inch mark, and then several cuts along the 1.5. And so I went ahead and I watched the video from this crop, and I went ahead and wrote down how many times she did it at 1 inch and how many times she did it at 1.5 inches. And I went ahead and marked my 1 inch and I marked my 1.5 inch. I just took a pencil and kind of made this mark a little darker so it would be easier for me to find on my decorative trimmer, since the numbers disappear a little bit on this trimmer. And we're going to be using the left wavy lane, I guess, if you will, the left blade cutter side here, and we're going to start at 1 inch, and we're going to cut at 1 inch 3 times. Let me scoot that over, make sure I'm straight for you reasonably well on the camera here. So here's our inch, and they have these grid lines which help as well, kind of like our grid lines on our regular 12-inch trimmer. We're just going to go ahead and follow that all the way up, and I actually am going to bring my blade back down. So here's 1 inch. Oops, okay. So I put mine up a little bit too high, and I'm going to need to grab my scissors, which happens. It's okay. I have my regular scissors handy. So I'm going to have to make sure to go over things twice, which is okay. But bear with me here a second while I cut along here. As I've said before, this is why it's so nice. It's paper. It's easy enough to fix with scissors. There we go. So we are going to use every piece of this 12-inch sheet. Okay, so I need 2 more at 1 inch. So lining up along your 1 inch grid line here. Trying to make sure I'm even for the most part here. Okay. So this time I know, push down a little harder, run it up and down. That's okay. Okay, that looks really small compared to what she did. But we're going to go with it and see what happens. So here we go. Here's our 3rd inch. Running my blade both up and down. Okay, and then we need to do it twice at 1.5 inches. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that was right. So I marked my 1.5 inch grid line as well, just to make my life easier here, because I knew we'd be doing a series of 1 inch and 1.5 inch cuts. So there's one, and we need a second one. Here is our second one. Oh, you know what? I forgot to run it back down. Glad that one actually went through. I find that my trimmer works a little bit better if I cut the going up ways first, which is why I wanted to bring my blade back down in the first place. There we go. Okay, so there's our 1.5 inches. Oh, well, there we go. I did do it both directions, and I still missed a piece, and it wasn't pushing down as hard as I thought. Okay. So there we go. We have 2 at 1.5 inches, we have 3 at 1 inch, and now we are going to rotate our page 180 degrees. So we're keeping this same speckled side up. We're going to 1 inch again, and here we go. Let's see what happens. Here's this other grid line. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to put that one on top of this one that matches, and then we're going to have 2 more at 1 inch. Make sure to pick it up nicely here. Okay, my inch line is all the way over here. There we go. This is one of those you can tell when it's not lining up right. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, why am I having so many issues all of a sudden with the inch? There we go. Holding that in place. Here we go. There's 1 inch. And that's going to go over here. We need another inch. Oh, that's why I wanted to do it cutting up. Okay. Hang on, let me fix my blade here because I ripped the paper just a little bit. can see that my paper is not happy with me. Look at this, and here up here I moved my sheet just a hair, which is also not so great. Let me just grab my scissors. And I know I'm not live, but you know, sometimes things go wrong even when you're just filming a regular YouTube video. There we go. So take off that little paper ball, and I'm just going to go ahead and follow the wave around here to the point here that I missed. There we go. All right. So we'll just go with it. It's okay. So there's our next inch. And what was that? Number 2? 1, 2, 3, 6. I have 6. Yep. So actually that was our last 1-inch one, and then we need 3 at 1.5 inches. Moving my blade back to the bottom. Here we go. Lost track of where I was. Goodness. That happens too. Happens to the best of us. Here we go. And here's our 1.5 inches. 1, 2, and I don't know why she did a third one, because we have enough for our everything we need. I think she did actually use up the entire sheet, so I think my cuts might be a little bit smaller. I have 2, I have 4, and I have 4. So I might have lined my things up a little bit smaller than what she did. And I guess maybe she measured from this point and not from this other point. I always forget where the 0 is on this thing. It's a little bit harder to tell than with our 12-inch trimmer. So, okay, so I've got a little bit extra. It's up to you. If you know exactly where to go to get 1 inch and 1.5 inches on this thing, go for it. It just goes to show that even sometimes it's easy for those of us that teach it to lose track, but I think we're still going to have a pretty page. Go ahead and set your decorative trimmers aside. And I am going to pull out my base pages for my layout here. My sketch shows that we're going to put these pieces, your 1-inch piece at the top, and then we're going to layer this other one into it. And then, no, we're going to layer the wider one into it, and then we're going to actually flip this and layer the florals going the opposite direction. Okay, but when you go to put it, be aware that the one going down the side is actually going to go under. So I think we actually probably should put the one on the side first. That makes the most sense, doesn't it? I think so. So let's grab one of our right side here first, and we'll go ahead and get that put down. I'm going to go ahead and, I think I'm going to go ahead and use the repositionable. I just don't feel that daring this morning, and I've run out. So let me go ahead and grab my replacement cartridge here. To replace your cartridge, you just line up your large hole over the holder and you just pop your refill right back in. And then you're back in business right away, pretty quick, easy and painless. So here's my 1.5 inch strip. Gonna run it, and it looks like it's almost against the edge. So let's run it from top to bottom, kind of close to the edge. I'm leaving maybe 1/8 of an inch to the side. If you feel like you want to pull out your 13 by 13 mat, you can. I tend to eyeball things. It's just, I guess, easier and quicker for me doing these sketches. And now, here we go. This one's going to line up on here running through the center. Let me pull out my parchment mat if you haven't seen my parchment mat before, it's a sturdy piece of cardboard, and I hold the parchment on with electrical tape. Since we're not cooking with it, it really doesn't matter that we're using electrical tape, and it just keeps things a bit neater. Any of my repositionable tape pieces that touch the parchment essentially stay in the tape runner, and it keeps my craft area a little bit cleaner. It keeps me from gooping up things with tape as well, to our tape runner. Here we go. Okay, so there's our first piece on our right side of our layout. I'm going to go ahead and piece the one on our left side of our layout next. I feel like I've got a lot of space I'm taking up here, which I guess I kind of am, but at least I am still on camera for y'all, so that's part of the fun here. Let me go ahead and get this left one going. I'll go ahead and use the mat for this one too, just in case. It is a Monday that I'm filming. And again, I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch on this left side here as well. Looks nice. Oh, I got a couple of, there we go, extra little paper pieces from where my blade caught a little bit. And we'll go ahead and, nope, that one's not going to work on that, is it? Maybe, here we go. Okay, well, that was interesting. I know that's why she rotated the paper, was to make sure we had enough to match our under pieces. So we'll see how this works out for me. If I need to cut one more, I had extra paper, I may need to cut one more. We'll find out. Okay, there we go. So is that part of it. Let's go ahead and adhere our straight pieces to the top, since this other piece ran under it. And let me move this. Put this here, put this here. Okay, let's get these side by side so that way y'all can see what I'm doing here. Okay. Parchment board, repositionable tape, and we want this to be able to stick nicely to our top part of our page. So we're just going to line it up with the top corner here. I'm just kind of putting my fingernails to help hold it in place on the right side, and I need to move it up just a little bit here on the left. There we go. All right. Side number 2. And again, I'm going to put my fingernails to kind of help hold it in place on the right side for me. There we go. So now we should have, these pieces do match up. Right, running across the top of our page here. Here we go. And we kind of want it to butt up against it. Let me grab my multi-purpose tool because I'm not quite lined up nicely. So you can just run your multi-purpose tool underneath if you need help with certain parts of this. There we go. Okay. And then you can just rub the excess tape runner off, which is one of the beauties of also using the repositionable tape. Even with your regular tape runner, a lot of times you can work it up with the tape runner, or you can work up the regular tape runner with the multi-purpose tool, but you also may risk ripping your paper a little bit, whereas with the repositionable, you don't really run the risk of ripping your paper as much. There we go. Could tell I was off just a little bit. There we go. All right, so that's our first pieces in place there. We're going to get our floral design going in. Next, such a pretty design. Oops, okay. Here we go. Yep, we did have enough cut to the right direction. Okay, so there is our top part of our layout done, and now we want the border maker running across the bottom here. And I accented with the green because I thought the green would pop a little bit and complement our page nicely. Oops, you have to be careful. I almost ripped that one a little bit with these little delicate punched pieces. You definitely want to use the repositionable on this and your parchment board, because otherwise you're going to have tape all over the place, and you don't want that. You don't want the tape showing through. So this is running pretty much along the bottom, so I'm going to try to give it maybe 1/4 of an inch across the bottom here. There we go for that one, and oops, try to get these lined up. How's about this? And in the book it'll look like it's kind of running across nicely. Whoops. Okay. There we go. All right, so there is our rolling sunshine chain that we punched earlier. Now let's take a look at our sketch, and we're going to see where we want to put our mats that we cut earlier, our 3x5 mats. And so these are all our 3x5s, and then I had 2 that were a little bit larger. So I wonder if we do these this way and the other one this way. In the picture, they have the third one going this way, but I like it a little bit better this way. So that's probably what I'm going to do on my page. And then again, they have 2 running this way. So I wonder if maybe if we do this and then pull in our other. Okay, I think the dark definitely goes a little bit better. I mean, the floral kind of pops also with the florals, but I just think it doesn't go as well on that page. So we're going to use our smaller matte scrap that I had. And now let me get these down, and then we'll measure this space and cut our lined paper. Let me find my regular tape runner here. So here's the picture, and you can see where they have one up and down on the left side, and they have the one on the right going across, but I like the symmetry too much of having them both. I mean, it's not going to match completely because of our putting our journal box, but it's still going to be kind of symmetrical as well. So again, up to you how you want to work your photos. These are just suggestions of how you can interpret the sketch. It doesn't mean that you have to make an exact copy of what I'm doing, but if you like what I've done, by all means, that would be fantastic if you wanted to put the layout together like this as well. And here we go with our last one. Okay, let's see here. Here's my zero centering ruler. And with the zero centering ruler, the 0 is in the center. So I've got about almost 3 inches. So I'm thinking we could probably get away with maybe oh no, actually you have 3, almost 4 inches. So let's see if we do 3 inches. So that way we have some of the flowers around it still. Maybe by the 4 inches. So let's do a 3 by 4 inch out of our paper, and the 3 inch is going to be this way. So let's okay, so this needs to be 3 inches because we want to be able to write on our lined paper. Pull out your trimmers again, and then I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. There we go, and actually that kind of brings back in this white, the light that we had on the other side. I was wondering if we might need an extra mat underneath that, but I'm thinking maybe not. We should be okay with what we've got here. So let me go ahead and put this down. That was a 3 inch by 4 inch. Okay, so our 3 inch by 4 inch box, we've got our tape runner on it. Just going ahead and placing it down in this bottom corner. And then it looks like you can there's space here for a title, or if you want you can put one up here, and it looks like they've embellished in this bottom area where they were wanting to put the title, and up here what I've done is I've pulled out a few of our jazzberry embellishments, and I kind of spotted this big one down here earlier. And I thought, wouldn't it be really cool to make this almost 3D using our foam squares? So I think that's probably what I'm going to do down here. And then we also have, that's going to be too big, I think, for this layout. Actually, that might look nice in the corner there. Ah, nice. Okay, so we've got 2. And then I pulled some leaves as well. I don't know, so we're going to 3D this one. We got this one. Where's our other eye focal point? Maybe up here. We can put just a smaller one as well, coming down from here. Yep. So let's do that maybe. Let's go ahead and pull out our thing here. We can do our title here still, because I will put this on foam squares as well, and that means it'll be raised so that way you can fit in underneath your title if you want. And let me pull out my foam squares here. I'm going to use some of my larger ones, but I'm actually just going to put one in the center of this large one because, like I said, I kind of want it to be just there. So, which way? Does it look like it's kind of mimicking the other here? There we go. So turn it until it looks right. For this one, I am just going to use my regular tape runner on it. I don't necessarily want to pop that one up. So let's go ahead and make sure it's on the page. But it really is not going to interfere with this as well. But if you have an issue, just take I didn't put any tape runner on these leaves, so that way I could get my picture under as well. Just use your multi-purpose tool to help you place it under there. And finally this one, I think I was going to pop this up. I want to use a couple of our smaller foam squares first under the leaf. And on our small flower here, because this doesn't interfere with any photos. So now let me take off the rest of the foam squares just to make sure I get this lined up. I kind of want the stem to run in between the foam squares of the flower. So looking at this here, I'm going to kind of hold these together. You can see where I've got the stem running through in between where the foam squares are, and angle that just a little bit coming from this corner. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so that is our page. Here's our sketch again. Our September 2021 worldwide virtual crop, which means that they had 12 sketches in that one. This was sketch number 10. And I will hold up first the left side of my page for you to the camera so you can see it a little bit closer. And you can see that chain running across the bottom. It's subtle, but it's there. And here's our right side of our page. Lovely. You know, this also would make a great, baby picture, like if you have a baby girl pages, or actually now that I see this, you might want to also do some of our patriotic pages, like for the 4th of July. That actually might be fun, kind of with this effect to the page as well. So we learned a lot on this one. We learned that I need to work on the decorative trimmer just a little bit more, but I think the page still turned out beautifully. And we have scraps for cards. So let's stay tuned to see what I come up with for some cards. Welcome back. I am going to put together a quick card here. We had this scrap left from when we used our decorative trimmer. I have cut a piece off to measure the 4 1/4 inches to run the length of the card. I also did take this extra scrap I'd had from my sketches I did this weekend at the virtual crop using the Vivid Melodies, and this is actually going to be the base of my card. I've grabbed one of my blank card kits, and then I also took our wider piece of the speckled paper from when we cut our mats and cut that down to 5 1/2, or maybe it was already 5 1/2. I don't think I actually had to cut this one at all. I'm just using it as it is. So grabbing my tape runner, I'm going to go ahead and put the plaid down as the base, and it was just a touch short. I think this was actually, like I said, originally a 4x6 mat, and our cards are 4 1/4, but I'm okay with that because we're going to cover it up with this. We're going to break it up with the speckles and just place this on here, and you're really not going to think that it's not part of the design when I'm done with it. So this is maybe 1/2 inch over from the edge. I'm going to run this through the center as well. I typically don't layer quite so many pieces, but we had them, and I just liked how this came together when I was piecing things out for a card. So this is going to go across through the center of our wave, and then I pulled 2 of my jazzberry embellishments. And so we're going to have a little bit of a love card here. We're going to put the love going through the center of the red, and then this little flower is going to go off to the side. And I'm going to grab my repositionable tape runner because that's what we need to get this thing on. And there we go. Whoops. Okay, just want to make sure I have enough tape so it'll stay on. And so our love is going to run more through this red part. It just really brings back the red again. And I'm going to grab a small foam square and pop up my little flower here off to the side. And it just brings the red back over on our card. And that's it. Pretty simple for me as far as card making goes, but it just with the scraps we had, I wanted to use, as usual, as much as I could. And I just thought this came together really, really cute. And send somebody a little bit of love. I think we all need a little bit of love right now. Or you can wait until Valentine's Day and save it for Valentine's Day and do it then. But that's it for this sketch with me. Using our Vivid Melodies Jazzberry, and then we also used some of the Lime Tart. I'll pull the pages back out one last time. Here we go. And we saw our sketch again and our card. Until next time.